Have you ever wondered why today is called Good Friday? Because I don't know about you, but for me, I've wrestled with that question for a while. And it's really been until recently that I begin to understand what's so good about today. Our readings for today are John chapter 18 and 19. And in John chapter 18, we see Jesus is in the garden with his disciples, and he's betrayed by Judas, a close follower of his, over some money. Then we see Peter begins to go and to denies his relationship with Jesus. Over and over again, 3 times, Peter denies even knowing him or being associated with him. And then Jesus is drug out and put on trial, and then eventually brought out in front of the Jews, to where then they let a murderer go free and throw him into jail to experience the punishment that should have been given for the other guy. To where that he's then going to be crucified for doing nothing, essentially. And so all of those moments that we see in John chapter 18, nothing points to anything good. Nothing we can look at that and say, man, that's a defining moment that is good. Because maybe you've been betrayed by someone, or you had someone talk behind your back or deny something about you. And you can know what that hurt feels like, what that pain can feel like. But in those moments, Jesus experiences all of that, looking forward to already knowing what's going to occur. And in John chapter 19, we see that Jesus is mocked and he's sentenced to death, and then he's crucified. And while Jesus is on the cross, in John chapter 19, verses 28 through 30, we read this. It says, "After this, when Jesus knew that everything was now finished, that the scriptures might be fulfilled, he said, 'I'm thirsty.' A jar full of sour wine was sitting there, so they fixed a sponge full of sour wine on a hyssop branch and held it to his mouth. And when Jesus had received the sour wine, he said, 'It is finished.' Then bowing his head, he gave up his spirit." See, nothing good up to this moment has happened. Right? Jesus has been whipped, he's been beaten, he's been nailed to a cross. He's had thorns put on his head, his clothes have been casted out as lots. But yet, Jesus utters these 3 words: "It is finished." And it may not sound like it, but when we look and we hear those 3 words, those are words of good news. Those are words that death has been defeated. Those are words that this plan from the beginning has come to fulfillment, as it just said. That because of what has just happened, the agony, the pain, the betrayal, the denial, the bitterness, good news begins to resound. And so today, as we look at Good Friday, as we look forward to Easter coming up on Sunday, let us be remindful and remember those 3 words. That Jesus proclaimed, "It is finished," and because of that we can have a relationship with him. Because of that, our relationship can be made stronger with him. And not only that, but the relationships of those around you. Maybe it's a friend, a neighbor, a family member who may not quite understand this good news. And maybe today you could share this video or just even give them a sense of encouragement. And by letting them know what this day means for you, as it means for so many of us who choose to follow Jesus. That it's the point that where we begin to look back and to remember the sacrifice that was made on our behalf so that we could have a relationship with him, so that we can look forward to Easter Sunday when we celebrate the resurrection and the hope that we can have. That in the darkest moment, what may not seem good was actually part of the best news we could ever hear when Jesus uttered those 3 words: "It is finished." So think about that today as you go about your day. And I want to invite you tonight to join us on our Facebook page as we have a go live for a Good Friday service, where we're going to sing some songs, hear another devotional thought, and just continue to reflect and remember the sacrifice that was made for us. So we hope you'll join us tonight at 7.